There is a version of you that no one has ever met. Not your wife, not your closest friend, not the men who respect you. It is the man you are when the door is shut and no one would ever find out. That man is the real you, and that man is the one God is forming. Last week we said fear and passivity end the same way. A man standing still while God waits for him to move. And I told you the cure was to take one step while the fear is still there. But here's the question that comes next. Where does a man get the strength to take that step? It is not built in front of people. It is not built on a stage or in a room where men are watching. It is built in the place no one sees. That is where we are going this week. My name is Zach Powell, and the way I understand what God has called me to is simple. We are called to be soldiers, disciples, and fishers of men for Christ. Soldiers because this life is not casual. There is a real enemy, and no man sits it out. Disciples because none of us is above the word. We are under it, still being formed. And fishers of men because as disciples, he calls us to pull others out of the dark and into his light. This is the fourth teaching in a season, built on a book I wrote called Lessons of the Father. We are laying a foundation, one stone at a time. Guard your life, no half measures. Move while you are still afraid, and now this. Two things this week, and like always, they are not two, they are one. What you are in secret, and what you can be trusted to carry. Start with the secret place. Listen to what Jesus says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 4 through 6. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Jesus keeps pointing at the same place. Not the public square, not the crowd, the room with the door closed. He is telling you that the Father sees what no one else can. What is hidden from people is never hidden from God. And that should do two things to a man at the same time. It should comfort him, and it should sober him. Comfort because the faithfulness no one sees is not wasted. God sees it. Sober because the compromise no one sees is not hidden. God sees that too. Now hear David, Psalm 101, verse 2. I will be careful to lead a blameless life. I will conduct the affairs of my house with a blameless heart. Notice where David starts. Not with the kingdom, not with the nation he was going to lead, with his own house, with his own heart. Before he governed anyone, he governed himself. Because here's the truth about integrity. Integrity is not what you do when people are watching. That is reputation. Integrity is what holds when no one is watching at all. And a man can run those two things on separate tracks for a long time. He can manage the reputation while the integrity quietly rots. He can look disciplined in public and tolerate things in private he would be ashamed to name. But it does not stay separate forever. What you feed in secret eventually shows up in the open. What is cultivated behind the closed door eventually walks out through it. And I will be honest with you, and why I know that. Not because I have mastered the secret place, because I have watched what happens in me when I neglect it. When the private prayer goes quiet, the public patience goes thin. When no one is checking, the things I tolerate get bigger. I am not telling you this from the far side of it. I am telling you from inside the same fight you are in. So that is the secret place. Now hear the second thing, because this is where it turns. What you are in private is not just about you. It is about what God can hand you. Listen to Jesus again. Luke chapter 12, verse 48. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. What you have been given is not yours to admire, it is yours to steward. Your home, your children, your influence, the trust people have placed in you. None of it was handed to you to sit and look at. It was entrusted, and entrusted things get accounted for. And here's the connection most men miss. God does not entrust weight to a man based on how he looks in public. He entrusts it based on what holds in private. The secret place is not separate from the weight. The secret place is the qualification for it. A man whose private life is collapsing cannot carry public responsibility for long. The weight will find the gap, it always does. But a man who is steady where no one sees, who prays when no one knows, who holds the line when no one would catch him, that is a man God can pile responsibility onto and trust it will hold. Now hear how serious this is. Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 30. I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one. God is looking for a man, one man who will stand in the gap, one man who will take responsibility for what is breaking. And the verse ends with the most sobering words in it. But I found no one. It was not that no one was able, it was that no one was willing. Everyone wanted to be respected, no one wanted to stand in the gap. Everyone wanted the authority, no one wanted the weight. And men, that is the question on the table for you this week. When God looks at what he has entrusted to you, your home, your marriage, the people who depend on you, does he find a man standing in the gap? Or does he find a man who is present in the house but absent in the place that counts? The weight is not meant to crush you. It is meant to form you. A man without weight stays soft. A man who accepts it grows strong. But you cannot carry the weight out there if you will not first become a man of integrity in here. What you are when no one sees is what qualifies you to carry what God entrusted. So here's the charge this week, and it has two parts because the teaching does. First, the secret place. Pick one thing you do only when someone is watching, and do it this week when no one is. Pray when no one knows you prayed. Hold a standard when no one would catch you dropping it. Close the door and be the same man behind it that you are in front of people. Second, the weight. Name one thing God has entrusted to you that you have been admiring instead of stewarding. One responsibility you have been present for but not actually carrying. And this week, stand in that gap. Step into one place you have been letting sit and take ownership of it. Be the same in secret. Stand in the gap in the open. I will be doing the same road, same fight. If this is hitting where it needs to, subscribe and walk the season with me. These build on each other, so next week assumes you were here for this one. And if you know a man who is carrying weight alone, send this to him. Next week we close the foundation, because we have spent 4 weeks laying stones, guarding, obeying, moving, and becoming the same man of the dark that you are in the light. And next week we stack all of it into one thing. You build first, you build before anyone is following you, and then you do the one thing this whole foundation has been training you for. You stand, and you do not move. Next week, build, then stand, the capstone of the foundation. Until then, be the same man behind the closed door. Stand firm in the faith, and I will see you next week.